this moment.
Ah, yes, here we are. After a week off, we're both fanging to get back in this studio. Punt Pals podcast. My name's Robbie Vaughn. This is Nick Ristovic. Hello, how are you, Nick? What's cracking?
Mate, week in the paddock, wasn't it? Short spell for us.
Yeah.
To freshen up before the spring carnival. But no, I'm going very well, mate. And yourself?
I'm very well. There were some questions asked of us too. I got about 5 or 6 messages, which is a lot for us. So everyone's asking, where's Punt Pals
I
podcast?
don't get much feedback when it's going in the positive sense, but when we're not running, geez, they fire up, don't they?
It's nice to be missed. That's all we'll say.
it is nice to be locked. And mate, I've been on the domestic scene, but you've been just gallivanting around the world, travelling the best of racing.
Yeah.
Tell us about your last week in a bit, mate.
There has been a bit going on. So I went to the very last running of the Singapore Gold Cup in Singapore at the race course there. It was actually the last ever race day that they were having in Singapore. So it was pretty exciting stuff, mate. Quite an eye-opener to see how they do racing over there, actually.
And I heard a few whispers just coming through a few racing circles I swan around in, mate, that you're actually very good on the tipping as well. Gave out a few winners.
I tipped a few, hey. And they have a weird way of doing their odds over there. It's like it's 6-1 or something like that, or 5-1.
Like a division type.
Yeah. So you feel like you're getting big payouts. You're like, I'm taking that $70 winner. No, mate.
$1.50.
Yeah, exactly.
You tip them, that's all that matters, mate.
Exactly right.
Kept your form going in the week off we had, and now you're back, obviously. So
exactly
what were the highlights, mate?
Well, at the racing there, it was just kind of having a look at how they do it or how they did it. So essentially, they have this massive grandstand. It's huge. If you look at Ascot. And how they have the glass where you can actually look over actually probably even more like Belmont, how they have the glass and you can look over the track and everything. They've got that on steroids. Like, it's honestly probably bigger than the grandstand at Flemington.
Wow.
It's huge. And they're just going to stop using it.
They're just closing it down?
Just closing it down.
Holding it down? Are they using it as an end facility? What's going on there?
Well, they're eventually going to bowl it down and use it for housing, but we've sort of got the feeling that it might not happen for a long time. So watch this space on that. I don't know. It's a funny culture for racing over there. Like, they love their horses, lots of Aussie and New Zealand trainers, but not a lot of people go. And it's not, with us, how it's a suit up, sort of get dressed up, go to the races. They're all there in their trackies and their T-shirts. Like, it's just the hardcore punters.
So you've gone there, 3-piece suit, pocket square.
Pretty much.
And everyone's just rolling around in the Adidas clip-up pants. Is
Pretty
that what
much.
I'm saying?
Yeah, that sums it up beautifully.
No members dress code.
And you know my wife Alana, she was dressed up to the nines, and she was a fish out of water there as well, even more than me.
She would have won fashions on the field by the length of the Flemington Straight.
They would have disqualified her for being too good, I think. Saw Swanee, Dane Swan over there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he was the big celebrity sighting that I ran into, and mate, it seemed to be a lot of Aussies, and I was surprised at how many Australian trainers actually get involved or did get involved in Singapore racing as well.
Yeah, it's got a long history of trainers from Australia going over there, trainers and horse trainers, and some quite successful ones as well.
It has, mate. Now I've got on the list maybe Hong Kong?
Yeah.
Happy Valley?
I was thinking maybe just go large, Kentucky Derby.
Yes, now you're talking.
See if I can swing that off at home at the moment. Probably not likely, but I'd love to go on those big international events again. It'd be awesome.
It'd be amazing if we could do a Pump Pals podcast trip. But you know what, mate? We keep doing this. We get some sponsors. You just never know what can happen.
Get your tipping form up from Singapore, mate. We'll wait.
That's exactly right. The other thing I was going to throw out there, I've been thinking about merch, Pump Pals podcast merch.
Yeah, you know me.
Yeah.
Love my merch, mate. Love my merch.
You would love a hat or something like that.
Got the old Wildcats today, but love to replace it with the bit of Pump Pals action.
Ooh, so I'm thinking we might have to talk. Is there anything that you can think of the top of your head where you go, that'd be a good bit of merch?
Well, mate, I mean, you're putting a bet on your phones, maybe like a bit of a phone case.
Oh yeah, phone case.
Phone case. You know, when you're at the track having a punt and people sort of generates a bit of interest. You know what's going on over there with the old Pump Pals?
That's not bad.
I'm just thinking, mate, you're not a marketer, mate. So.
Yeah. My only issue with that is that every lister we have probably has a different bloody phone, so we're going to have to get about 20 different versions of it.
Yeah, I didn't quite think through the execution there, mate. But no, I know what you're talking.
I'm not against it. Maybe
stubby holders, just keep it simple, Simon.
Stubby holders, maybe some hats.
Yeah, but a few snapbacks, mate.
Yeah. I think we should look into this.
Put it out there and see if what appetite is there.
Yeah, well, I think there'll be people who want it. It's just whether we want to fork out the cash to actually go and get it made in China.
Well, mate, if we as confident as we are in today's tips, we might be able to get that done very soon, mate.
That could be very true. That could be very
We've got
true.
a huge bloody show to get through today, don't we?
We do. And before we get into it, I know you've been down south as well. So what have you been doing? You've just been swanning around, hitting up wineries?
Yeah, essentially just swanning around, sampling some of the Southwest's greatest boutique beers, mate.
Love that.
Went out to Beer Farm with a few other families there over the weekend. Stayed down in Abbey, which is a nice part of the world. Beautiful. Bay, where I grew up down there. And, mate, two highlights. Beer Farm, obviously, is fantastic.
Yep, big tick.
Had the old pork ribs there, which were quite elite if you're down that way.
Oh, delish.
A bit of a sort of Korean theme. And then straight from there to Claudio's Bakery. If you haven't been there between Busselton and Dunsborough.
I haven't.
It is absolutely exceptional, mate. Right where
Really?
the Bass Turnoff is there. You've got some nice sort of gourmet French sort of chocky croissants and, you know,
Ooh.
had a strawberry and custard cronut,
Hello.
which became 2 cronuts in a row and then 3 the weekend. And there goes me my dad diet. So anyway, it was bloody good. And then snuck out for a bit of a fish tour in the boat, mate. Obviously, that's my main go-to on the weekends is trying to get some fish on the deck and wasn't overly successful. So hopefully the punting goes better this week, big fella.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy. All right. Well, on the show today, mate, we're going to unpack the end of the AFL trade period because that was lengthy, I would say. Lots of Group 1 action across the country. Couple of new segments. And, mate, it's just all going on. We're riding the journey of racehorse ownership with a special guest as well.
Yeah, we've had to freshen up and we've just had a few new ideas come to the fore. So looking forward to ripping into it today, man.
Man, this is what happens when we have a week off, really, isn't it?
Actually get creative and start coming up with a few new segments. So
100%.
you were busy creating the sound effects last week for the potty. Now we've got a few new segments. So we're going up a level, aren't we, mate?
We are. We may not necessarily have openers for all new segments yet, but that will come. Now, mate, I guess we better look at the last podcast bet because you know what? It feels like a long time ago. We could potentially leave it in the past just given our success rate. But you know what? We've got to hold ourselves accountable. So I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I had a actually putrid run that weekend, to be fair. I was happy just to give the podcast a spell for a week. Have to go through it. Probably Bella Nipotina not winning was probably the story of my weekend, to be honest.
Yeah.
She gets out super late. She's in front past the post, but not just before. So I had 10 each way on Nugget in the Epsom at $15. Ran like a $25 shot. Didn't look likely at any stage.
Damn.
Had $40 on Elias to place, which of course saluted in the Turnbull, and then had that into Bella Nipotina to win at 270. That was my big bet for the weekend, 50-50. Elias got the job done. Bella missed by half a head. But yeah, it's just a hell of a race. And I guess the worst part about the Bella Nipotina race was a $41 shot got the job done in Skyman. So,
I know.
it was a horror run for punters that whole weekend, to be said. It was just so many big rough results coming up. And then Caulfield Cup, no value really. Their favourite absolutely smoked him, mate.
Yeah, in the end, it was just one of those things, wasn't it? He was too good.
Gave him a clean pair of heels. And then, mate, just to finish off the old Wildcats special. I thought that was going to be my banker for the weekend. In the end, a bet refund there because Winler didn't pull up, didn't play the game. So I got the bet refunded there. And that was the only sort of semi-respite I got across the weekend. But I think you might have had a win or two, mate. So.
We'll take the refund, won't we? Yeah. So I had $20 on Via Sistina for a win at 360. So that was the big one for me.
That was a big race, wasn't it? What a finish.
It was a huge finish, wasn't it? It was really bloody good. It's about the only race I watched for the weekend, actually, because I was in Singapore. I'm probably going to bring that up casually about 50 times throughout the podcast. Yeah. And I was actually at the Singapore Cup that day, so I wasn't keeping a lot of notice on there. But I did notice as well, that they were playing the Cal Cup on the screens there. The Singapore race course,
a bit of interest in the red dirt racing at Kalgoorlie in Singapore. Wow,
can you believe it? Can you believe it?
Race, mate. Well, I mean, I went to the Buckaroos, the race you went Via Sistina. I think we just went ding dong for the whole last 200 metres there, didn't we?
Bloody impressive, wasn't it?
It was a good tipping effort, both of us. You got the chockies, but we're paying $360 there.
Yeah, $360 in the end, which is pretty good. And I know you talked about doing a video for that one, mate. I tell you, the issues I had because we recorded on Thursday. Then I was trying to edit the thing on Friday, trying to upload it and do all the things on my phone. It was a bloody nightmare. So sorry, we missed the video on
That's
that
all
one.
right. No, we can go back to the potty, mate. We picked first and second in the race, and
Exactly right.
two good chances. So hopefully, some took the Quinella, mate.
Yeah, exactly right. And mate, look, the rest of mine was a bust. I took that Wildcats bet, refunded. Had Berkshire Breeze, no good. Iowa, no good. So basically, it was all done. I sort of won $72 there on Via Sistina. So we'll
Tough
pay
race
it.
to find a winner in. Not many people are finding him, so you got to take the positives, mate.
Well, that's very true, mate. That's very true. And I don't know, it's interesting, isn't it? Because we've talked a lot of footy over the last however long, and we're not going to get to that till a little bit later because it's all about racing at the moment. This is a massive weekend, and I don't know about you, but I want to hear the horse bugle before we do anything.
It doesn't feel legit without the bugle these days, does it? The bugler?
No, it doesn't. Man, racing.
Yeah. Group one's just left, right, and centre every weekend, back to back. Sydney, Melbourne, so many big races to follow. So much time invested in form. A few late nights for me, sort of trying to find a few winners. And
the Everest is happening this Saturday in Sydney. It's going to be huge.
what's that? The Everest?
Oh, it's just a little race. You might have heard of it.
Listed.
Well,
is it all?
Well, apparently listed in Australia, but not internationally.
Oh, Jesus.
Apparently, that's the word.
Yeah,
but
okay.
So, mate, before we get into the actual race, I've put together a little bit of a list. So, it's actually not a top 5; it's a top 6. But anyway, here we are.
Robbie's top 5. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mambo number 5. 5.
Well, I actually use this for my radio show, but it feels like it fits for the potty.
It quite nicely. Mambo number 5 reference in the middle there was interesting.
Love it. All right, so I wanted to talk about the Everest today because this is actually quite amazing. So it's big money. It's like massive money. The purse is $20 million this year. So I'm not sure what the winner gets out of that. I don't know exactly, but average prize money over the 7 years that it's been running has been roughly $12 million, right?
Richest race in the world on turf, mate.
It's huge. That's insane, isn't it? For one race, amazing. But that's what happens when you get slot races. So been running 7 years. And the question or the list I'm going to throw out to you today is all around how much does it cost to actually purchase an Everest winning horse? And I'm going to tell you right now, the answer is fuck all.
I thought you were going to ask me for a dollar figure there. No, very, very well played, mate. So we've got a couple of cheapies that have won some big dollars here, have we?
Okay, so of the 7 winners of the Everest, I take that back. Of the 6 winners of the Everest, it's run 7 times. Redzel's won it twice. The average price for these yearlings have been $178,000. Wow. And get a load of this. I'm just going to go through the list for you because it's quite amazing. So Redzel won the inaugural and the second. Paid $120K for that horse at the 2014 Magic Millions.
That's a good buy.
Yeah, $120,000.
Sale price at Perth sales, 120K-ish.
It would be.
Yeah.
It would be now.
Unreal.
Yeah, so it won, the Everest was worth 9.65 mil and 13 mil at the time, so it got a nice chunk of that money. Moving on to 2019, Yes, was bought for $200,000 at the 2018 Magic Millions. So that was pretty good. Like that's both of these bargain basement. And then we move on to Classic Legend, probably the most expensive. 2020, $400,000 they paid for Classic Legend.
Yep.
Yeah, so we're about halfway through the list and it's sounding okay.
Good return on investment, really.
It's good return on investment.
Like 20 times in return on investment.
I know, but let's move into great return on investment.
Okay,
right.
Stepping it up.
So 2021, Nature Strip. How much was Nature Strip bought for? So just take a stab in the dark.
Say 80K.
Ooh, you're a bit unders actually. 100K. Nature Strip was bought for. $20 million in prize money in the end. 22 of 44 starts were won.
It was a marvel.
Absolute marvel. Won an Everest. I don't have the figure of how much Nature Strip won in that Everest, but it was big bucks for the $100,000 investment. Now, Giga Kick. This is pretty cool, actually. This is actually very cool.
I'm going to say, Garen, the same mark, about 70K.
Giga Kick did not make it to the sales. Got passed in.
Yep.
So it had colic. He had
Okay,
Colt.
yeah.
So he basically didn't get sold, went straight to Clayton Douglas, and they ended up getting it right and won $9 million in an Everest.
It's just a freak, that horse.
Yep. Absolute freak. Looking to join Redzel as the only horse to win it twice.
Hard to win it twice, isn't it?
It's very hard to win it twice. But number one on the list, right? This is last year's winner. Think about it. Absolute bargain basement here, Nick.
40K.
Not that low.
60.
A little bit higher.
70.
Boom, there you go. $70,000.
Yep, trained by Joe Pride. Very, very good horse.
Huge. It's won $11 million in prize money already.
It's insane.
An Everest last year. And I wonder, is Giga Kick going to be the one that gets it done and continues that bargain basement trend?
Well, yeah, it's hard to pick horses at that age. We're both involved, aren't we?
Yeah.
You know, I think there's so many unpredictable factors when training a horse and what stage is it ready to contest these sorts of sprint races, which are just pressure on from the start.
Yeah.
And the most intriguing thing about the Everest is you've got horses all the way from 3 to age 7, 8, all going head to head against each other.
So crazy, hey?
That's what I just love about it.
How are you seeing it?
Oh, not very well in the racing at the moment. I've been okay till last week, but
you look at the field and you go, it's pretty star-studded. I mean, as you'd expect, it's a $20 million slot race, but when you look at all the names of these horses, you go, shit, it's hard to pick.
Well, you can make a case for all of them, really.
Yeah.
And that's what tipsters often do.
Yep.
They'll go each way and say, these are the reasons why these horses can win. Generally, my view on the race, and going back through the winners that you just mentioned, are generally the tried and tested, proven performers rise to the occasion.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got a day there at Randwick with 30,000 people. There's DJs pumping. There's stream. I was there for one of the Everest there over at Sydney, and
so you've been? I've never been to the Everest.
Epic day.
Yeah, right.
I like it. It's the atmosphere, the crowd, the noise is just like unlike any other race day I've ever been to. So if you think about a horse going to that sort of environment,
yeah, true. It's got to be a distraction.
It's horses, man. You know,
yeah,
they've been there, they've soaked up that pressure, and they performed on the big day. And that's why you see Redzel go back-to-back nature strip. These horses have been in big races at Flemington all around the country and won those big races. So this is where I probably start to steer away from the 3-year-old performers.
Yep.
And the younger horses coming through. And I like horses like Bella Nipotina and I Wish I Win that have been there before.
Yes, Bella.
But all that in mind, I'm still going to go with probably a proven performer in Bella Nipotina at $8.50, even though she's drawn wide.
Yep.
I think Craig Williams will still find a nice slot for her. She's a smart enough horse to get there, and also like a younger horse called Storm Boy.
Storm Boy. So much hype around Storm Boy.
Well, he could be the next big colt in Australia.
Is he going to live up to it? I don't know. I don't know if the signs are great early,
mate. That's what I mean. Like, does he get overwhelmed by the occasion and run his race as a colt before the race begins, or does he bring the X factor we've seen where he can just be arrogant sometimes when he wins?
Yep.
So yeah,
and that's what you want.
Only carrying 53 kilos too, versus some of those older horses like I Wish I Win carrying 58.5. So I think with a lightweight, he's a chance each way. But yeah, playing around Bella, Storm Boy, Sunshine in Paris, which I think you quite like, and Traffic Warden's another one. So they're my numbers for the trifecta. What about you, man? What are you pumped for when it comes to Everest this week?
Mate, I am all in on Sunshine in Paris. I've just got a feeling about her, mate. Neesham, obviously an amazing trainer.
Yep.
Tommy Berry, great jockey. And I don't know if you saw the Group 2 Sherrico Stakes, 1,200 metres a couple of weeks ago. I think it was like the 24th of September, 14th of September it was. It was such a good run. Like a really, really good run. Like timed it perfectly, burn off the competition, and just went bang. And I saw that run and I just thought, shit, I didn't actually know much about the horse before that. Sunshine in Paris, bloody brilliant, superstar horse, up and comer. I say that for a 5-year-old. And at $11, I feel like she's a little bit forgotten as well. Like no one's talking about her just because the field is so good. And when you're coming from form, you've just got to go, all right, let's go all in. $11, Sunshine in Paris. Thank you very much.
It's a good price, man.
It's a very good price.
The horse can sit and sprint, to your point, like it did last start in the Group 2, and it can actually lead and burn them off early. So it's got a few gears, that horse. But yeah, mate, you could argue that with Jolly Star, who, you know,
you could.
Has, I think J-Max chosen to stay with Jolly Star. So, I mean, yeah.
As you say, you can make an argument for every single horse.
That's it. I think the cool part about it is obviously now it's been elevated to Group 1 status.
Yep.
So slot races generally stay outside that Group 1 status. But whoever wins this race, and particularly if there's a colt that wins this race, there's a couple in the race, you'd argue they've beaten the very best sprinters in the country.
Yep.
You have to be a rating, I think, 123 to get into this race.
Yeah,
so it
right.
is the best sprint race in the world at the moment. And I think if, Godolphin and these likes have these types of stables have a horse that wins, that becomes a very, very important breeding prospect and could shape potential sales for the years upcoming. So, so many different factors of this race. It's just so going to be so good.
100%. And the status will keep building. The other thing as well, because I love Bella Nipotina just like you, all over it. I was just looking back at some stats. So she's run second and third her 2 runs in spring and looked pretty good. But she hasn't not placed since the Quokka back in April.
Uber consistent. Man.
Yeah, so every time she runs, she places. Yep. So I like her for each way.
Yeah, and a couple of those races she's run at 1,100 and 1,000. So I think she's still managed to place at short of her best distance. But she's just a war horse, man.
Yeah.
Every time I go away from backing her, she'll prove me wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm sticking with it. Even though she's drawn a wide barrier, that's why you're getting a decent price.
Yeah.
If she draws inside, you're probably getting 4 or 5s. You're now finding $8.50 for her. So you can't let her go around at $8.50 without something on.
100%. She just keeps she keeps actually, like, she's like Geelong. Yeah. She rebuilds, and then she goes down for a second, then she's back.
Yeah. Their last start, as I said, she was in front one stride after the post, and she didn't get out to the last 50 metres. So she's got that turn of foot that can surprise them. And, if she finds a nice spot without doing too much work from that wide gate, I think we're going to be in the money, mate.
100%. All right, the Group 1 King Charles Stakes.
King Charles III Stakes.
Sorry, mate, I got to get that right. Charlie will not be happy.
Well, he'll actually be on course. Well, too. King and the Queen will be there at Sydney.
They're actually going to be there. Like, I knew they were going to be in Australia, but I didn't know they were going to be on course.
They've flown in specifically for this one, mate.
Yeah.
Right, named after, of course, the royal family. So,
whoa.
Yeah, not sure how they're going to cop the DJ, which kicks off really early in the afternoon. But this is going to be another absolute cracker.
That's huge. Is Annie Lennox going to be there for the Eurythmic Stakes at Ascot then? Is that the direction we're going in?
That'd actually be a massive coup, wouldn't it?
That would be. We'll get to that in a minute. King Charles the Third.
In space now, yeah. This is the richest race over a mile in the world, mate. 1,600-metre race, $5 million.
It's big, isn't it?
Yeah, just money galore.
We have a lot of big races. We like here in Australia, we just have money coming out of our bazoonas. I don't even know if that's a word, but I don't know why I said bazoonas.
Bazoonas?
How you seeing the race anyway?
I mean, bit of history on the race. Fangirl won last year.
Yes.
Brightside, who came second last year to Fangirl, he won't run this year against Prodigy, who's the current favourite.
Mm-hmm.
The race record in track time has been held by Winx, who won this race incredible 3 times.
Wow.
So $5 million a pop. You can see how she added up an amazing $30 million plus in prize money over her career. Very elegant, interestingly, won this race in 2021 over 1,600 and then won the Melbourne Cup over double the distance of 3,200.
Holy crap.
Got that.
The Very Elegant won at Caulfield as well,
mate.
Same year as the Melbourne?
I think
different year.
Yeah, copper weight penalty if you win the Caulfield Cup for the Melbourne Cup. But yeah.
So you can pretty much do any distance Very Elegant.
Crazy.
Good.
Crazy, that horse. And its circumstances. And then there's a WA man getting a start, isn't it?
LA. The Jewel. Amelia's Jewel. Been running quite well as well.
All my mates in Melbourne ride her off. Oh, she's not up to Melbourne grade.
No,
she's been going well, hasn't she?
She's been going pretty well. She loves a second. That's what I've been saying. Like every single bloody race you look at, runs second, doesn't run third, doesn't run first, runs second.
She's just building, mate. It's not a grand final yet. This might be a grand final, and she's hard to knock at 1,600.
That's pretty nice.
Getting older, she tends to step out a bit further past those 1,200 and 1,400 metre wins she had here in Group 1 company in Perth. But yeah, geez, it's hard to split a few of these types again. No, we said that for the last race.
Yeah, mate. How are you seeing it?
Well, Fangirl, I thought was one of the best runs I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Start. She was arrogant. Didn't even get the whip out of the jockey. She just went whooshka straight down the outside.
Said thank you very much.
The old Wolf, your horse, your man. Geez, he was bloody good last week or the week before you left too, mate.
2 weeks ago.
Up at 5 or 6s as your best bet in the racing.
Huge, wasn't that good?
And then Prodigy beat up Mr. Brightside pretty badly in their last pairing. So,
yeah.
Obviously the market suggests Prodigy's a strong favourite at $2.40 at the moment, but it's way too short. I think Fangirl's probably the value at $3.60. she possesses an enormous turn of foot if she's on her best, and she can chase down Jenny.
Yeah.
And I think many horses in this race potentially can chase her down if she gets a big head start. Your horse, the Old Wolf, it did chase down some bloody good horses last start, and but extended by about 4 lengths on the line. So
yeah, it was very good. I mean, my question with Pride of Jenny at the moment, it's 235 favourite, but is that because the punters have just seen the race at, like against Mr. Brightside the other week at the Valley, and they just kind of go, is it just that, is it momentum? They just say, all right, we've got to get on Pride of Jenny. Like, does that price actually reflect where she stands in the race?
I think it does. I think if you look at the horses she's beaten and the company that she's been racing against, and Mr. Brightside's no slouch, she puts 8 lengths on Mr. B.
It's a big effort.
It's a big effort. And I think why the punters love her, she just takes all the guesswork out of the race. So you can't argue she'll get trapped 4 pairs back, or the jockey will settle her last on the rail, like you see some favourites get beaten. She takes all the luck out of the race. She'll go forward. And my only question mark is, does she race slightly differently in Sydney going the other way versus Melbourne?
Yeah, good point.
I have heard back in the day working at Caulfield, the horses have a different galloping leg.
Yep.
So they pivot off. So obviously it's a change in direction for her, and it'll be a new environment for her to adjust to. But I believe she's raced there before. I just can't have her at 240, mate.
Yeah,
it's short. My shackles on at 240. I'm at least looking for something $3 plus. So
yeah, you're not loading up.
Girl.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I'm going to take Amelia's Jewel for a place. As I said before, 4 of her last 6 races, she's run second. So she's got form in that area. And I think she's a little bit underestimated as well, to be fair.
Well, $4.70-ish for a place.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I reckon it's a reasonably really good bet, mate. And she's been in Group 1 company.
Yeah.
She's multiple Group 2 winner, so shouldn't have any trouble stepping up.
I think it's doable, but I think for me, as far as winners go, Pride of Jenny, yeah, obviously can't discount her. Excellent horse, as you said, takes the luck out of the race. But I'm going to get behind Sheerwolf. You know what? $9 came through for me the other week. I think it's juicy odds there at 9, and I'm going to take that on, mate.
Yeah, I think it's a reasonably good shout, and it can step out to sort of 1,800, I reckon 2,000. Sheerwolf. So I've actually spec'd it in a couple of other Group 1 races later in the year.
Yep, love that.
This will be a really good run from the horse. So I'm expected to be a Jenny leader. Site race, and then who can gun her down, really. I think it'll be a great watch.
It'll be an excellent watch, actually. It's going to be tough just flicking the TV between Sydney and Melbourne this weekend, that's for sure, because we're about to talk about the Caulfield Cup, mate. Before we actually get into the race itself, we've got a buddy who's a part owner in Calibre who's racing this weekend, so I think we might flash to that chat now, because we did this before the pod, and this is the beauty of podcasting. We can record stuff, then slip it in later. So let's hear from Daniel Huddy and his thoughts about Calibre. All right, so we've got our good buddy Dan Huddy with us right now. He's got a massive weekend coming up this weekend because he's got a little stake in Calibre, which is running in the Caulfield Cup. We're very excited to get him on and have a chat. So, Nick, here he is right now. Dan Huddy, how are you, buddy?
Hey, boys, how are we? I'm very good leading into Saturday, so it's a good base to work off at the very least.
How's the nerves, mate, tracking into Saturday? It was the big price for the horse available, but how are the owners feeling?
Look, on the whole, I think everyone's a bit more optimistic. I reckon being a Group 1 winner already, seeing that sort of price, I think there's a bit more, we all know what he's capable of. That's the difference. Whereas punters who are seeing and basing their opinion off his last couple of runs, they don't necessarily take into account what he has done up to this point. So we're sitting a lot more comfortable than a lot of other people that are assessing the Caulfield Cup at large. So look, overall, I think we're all feeling very optimistic. You can't be too confident. Obviously, it's a horse race. Anything can happen, but we know what he's capable of, and we're confident in his abilities. So, $81, come at me.
As an owner, that's exactly what you want, though. Like, I got him at 101. I put 5 each way at 101, and I'll keep putting a little bit in. But you want him to be the underdog. You want the big odds, and you want to be able to pouring that in. So, man, talk him down. Getting out to 200.
Trust me, I've been trying. I really have.
It sounds like the horse is peaking for this race. And what's the form been like, though, prior to those 2 runs, just for those listening at home?
Well, he's a Group 1 winner at the Tancred Stakes back in the autumn, which is a weight for age 2,400-metre contest where he actually beat a horse called Buckaroo. So for anyone that's doing the form on the Caulfield Cup,
The favourite in the race. Yeah.
decent horse, apparently.
$4.20.
He's become a different horse since he was gelded heading into this preparation. And fairness to him, on paper, he looks a fantastic bet on Saturday. He's drawn perfectly, so I understand it. But he's not proven at 2,400. And I think the big thing, like with Calipor, he's easily a 3,000-metre horse. I don't think he's a true 3,200-metre horse, but he can easily run you 3,000 metres comfortably and be very competitive. He's placed in a Sydney Cup. He's placed in a Metropolitan, which is a Group 1 level in Sydney, and he's won the Tancred Stakes. So of the 3 staying Group 1 features in Sydney on a calendar year, he's either placed or he's won. So he's done everything possible to prove that he's a stayer for a starter, but he can also match it in some pretty decent company at staying trips. And in the Sydney Cup, he carried a few kilos more than Circle of Fire, who won the race today and at a decent price. So he's proven more times than not that he can handle it at a staying trip, at a truly run 3,000 metre, 3,200 metre, and 2,400 metre event. So he's ticked a lot of boxes. He won the Archer Stakes in the Spring Carnival last year to get him into the Melbourne Cup, where if you watch the race, nothing went his way. The plans went out the window. The jockey made his own mind up midway through. So nothing went to plan. Not saying he would have won the Melbourne Cup by any stretch of the imagination, but I do genuinely believe, bias aside, that he would have been a top 12 finisher in the Melbourne Cup. So he's ticked every box from a distance point of view. We come into Saturday being a 2,400 metre Group 1 handicap. On paper, there is speed on. And if that is the case, you really want to be looking for a horse that can last at least 2,600 metres. And a lot of these horses that are high up in the market, they're not proven at the distance. So it really does bring him into account. So,
Geez, he's very good, isn't he?
He's very good. He's very good. He might steal our jobs in our podcast.
Probably good to this podcast. Talking to the great man. And Robbie and I are in horse ownership, and we've been talking about a lot over the last few weeks in the podcast. How did you get involved in Calipor and other horses? And what is it that attracted you to ownership to begin with, mate?
Good question.
that is a really good question. From an ownership point of view, for me personally, it's always been, I've loved racing since I was a kid. My dad got me into it when I was probably about 4 years old. I remember I was in Perth as a kid, obviously growing up over in the West. I used to listen to racing radio when I was about 4 or 5 years old and doing the scratchings on a Saturday morning. I was obsessed. Hated the punting side at that. Not hated, that's a strong word, but it never enticed me into the industry. I just loved the sport. I loved every part about it. I loved going to the races. I just loved being a part of it in any capacity. So when I hit 18 years old, my money became my money and I got to spend it how I wanted. And the opportunities came up with ownership. And that was a really appealing thing for me personally. I'd loved the sport since I was young, as I just mentioned, but it was an opportunity to get involved on it in a different capacity. So that for me was appealing from the get-go. But with Calipor and our family syndicate, as you've probably seen in the race book, is MJM Racing. So it was formed by my granddad, who turns 85 this year. He's never, ever owned a horse up until 2020. And he got involved with a horse called Luncey's, who was brought from overseas for a decent price. They had a decent enough opinion of the horse. And through family friends, they kind of convinced Granddad, if you want to get involved in racehorse ownership, like we've just taken 10% of this horse, why don't you do the same thing? And Granddad was really keen to do it. So he said, look, I will do it. I'll take 10% of this Luncey's, but only if the rest of the family comes on board with me. So my dad, my mum, my aunties, uncles, everyone decided, okay, we'll do this for Granddad. Like the horse will probably be terrible, whatever. We got into Luncey's, and for any punter that has ever seen Luncey's in a race, he's not the punter's pal. He never has been, but he's been, if nothing else, he was consistent. He's just ended his career recently, but he earned over $1.05 million in prize money. He ran a stack of placings, and he was just a really good horse. So, he was a great in for our family. And then through that, my uncle, my granddad, and I went up to Newcastle to see Luncy's prior to a race in Sydney a couple of years ago. And we just happened to be looking at a horse in the stall next to Luncy's in Newcastle at Chris Lees's stable. And we turned to the bloke that was running the show for us at the time, and we said, "Oh, who's this?" And he said, "Oh, this is our new import. His name's Calipore, and we think he's probably on handicap rating. He's better than Luncy's, and we think he's he's just got a deeper profile. Also, there's 5% left in him. Just a typical salesman approach." And Lucas, he was fantastic, and we kind of laughed and we're like, "Oh no, we've got Luncy's. That's enough." We came out the next day, watched Luncy's in this race at Randwick, and it was on it was the Sydney Autumn Carnival where there was helicopters like drying the track. It was that heavy. So we were expecting him to run near enough to last on this day, and he comes out at this day at Randwick and he ran second. My granddad was he was celebrating like he'd won the bloody race. It was insane. And then 24 hours later, much to my family's lack of knowledge, Granddad reached out to Lucas, who we'd met the day before. So, "Oh, that horse that you mentioned, that the rest of the percentage that was left, we'll take it. Hadn't told anyone else, and that's how Calipore came to be for
Granddad.
He came through with the goods to Granddad, and look, it took a while, but I think now you look back and go, that was a very good investment for the family. So that's how that ownership with Calipore came about. But yeah, it's always been something our family's been involved in, especially the men in our family have been very racing focused, racing fans, and it was a very lucky coincidence. You can't put it in any other way, really. Got a chance in a race.
Well, mate, I like the way you're talking. You sound confident. You sound hopeful. And fingers crossed you can get up a $81 winner on Saturday. Dan Huddy, all the best for the Caulfield Cup. We'll be cheering you on because we're on it, mate. Don't you worry about that.
Mate, bring it on. Look, win, lose, or draw, we'll just be happy to be there. Hope he gets around safely. And I genuinely think he's going to surprise a few people. So think of that what you will. I'll leave you on that.
Oh, here we go. I like it. Thank you very much, mate. Have a good one. And thanks for coming on Pump Pals Podcast.
Cheers, boys. Anytime. Great to be involved.
What an advertisement for racing.
I know.
Dan Huddy.
Stuart J.
He should be the new marketing angle, I think, for Racehorse ownership here in WA. Obviously, worked for you for a bit.
Yes.
What a story. Family in racing, and now has a runner in a $5 million race.
And he's very good. Like, the thing I always notice about Huddy is that he's a lot younger than what you would think. Like, take a guess. How old do you think Huddy is?
33.
No, it's like 27.
Huh. He's very good.
Yeah.
He's got me shaking my boots.
Talks well, has a good head on his shoulders.
Yeah, no, he's a moving fella too.
Yeah.
That's a good thing about working in racing is you meet a lot of people like Huddy who are just genuinely great blokes.
Yep. And love racing. Just loves it.
Love the horse.
Yeah.
So, pleasure to get him on. Geez, you're bringing in some good guests lately, mate.
That's it, mate. I do what I can. All right, let's talk about the Caulfield Cup. 2,400-metre race, $5 million in prize money, 3-year-olds and older, if I can get that word out. Now, mate, how are you seeing it?
It's my favourite race.
Is it actually?
Yep.
Is that just because you used to work at the Melbourne Racing Club?
Just a long...
Are you biased?
I am potentially biased, but it's been around for years.
Yeah, it's pretty
one
cool.
of those time-honoured races where there's so much history and, if you look back at some of those previous winners, Mine Power and others, it's just races where it's just got such a great long history of horses that have done amazing things. And I think the really cool thing about it is obviously you've got the Melbourne Cup, which is another 600 metres longer, 800 metres longer in a few weeks' time. It's a great lead-up race to find out how these horses are travelling. So it really is a really important race for punters across the spring. And it's a really tricky race to find a winner. And I say that because you've got horses coming over from Japan this year.
Yeah.
It's hard to stack those up against the Australian horses. You've got horses that probably don't run that well over 2,400, like Dan just mentioned, that are 2,000-metre performers, and they're probably more headed towards a Cox Plate. Then you've got some horses that'll be making momentum late because they're probably looking for further. So I tend to stick with the ones who are, to Dan's point, have been proven over 2,400 metres.
Yeah.
2,000 horses will be found wanting late,
Yeah.
and the ones that run over further distance, they'll need a bit more time to wind up. So, let's hope Dan can get it done on Calipore. It was $101 earlier in the week, now 81s.
Yes, I got it before it closed in at 101.
Yeah.
Took a bit of an each-way bet.
Hotmail on that, mate. But yeah,
Sorry, mate.
I guess the question I get asked a lot here is, is the Caulfield Cup winner necessarily going to win the Melbourne Cup? Well, the fun fact there, I guess, is if you do win the Caulfield Cup, you cop a weight penalty.
Yep.
Which makes it really, really hard to do that. So the last horse that did that was in 2001, which is Ethereal. And then Might and Power, which is a horse I absolutely loved, it in 1997. That's how long it's been. So that's how it works.
That's huge, though, isn't it? So are they the only two to do it, or they're just the most recent two?
And the most recent two, I think there's only 4 or 5 horses to ever do it.
Wow.
That's, I guess weight penalties changed since then.
Wow.
But yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, how do you win? It's an extra 100 metres. And a lot of the best stays that come from around the world, who traditionally have a very good record in this race, they run over those distances all the time.
I think it's kind of fun to see all the internationals come in as well. And of course, we see it even more for the Melbourne Cup, but I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is, mate, for sure.
What's Nick Ristovic's hot tip?
Well, I love that race that we were both involved in with Via Sistina and Buckaroo.
That was good, wasn't it?
To go. And I think if Via Sistina wasn't one of the better horses going in the country, Buckaroo wins that race over 2,000.
Mm-hmm.
And they both seem through the line.
Yeah.
So on that basis, I'm going to be a bit boring, go the favourite here in Buckaroo. He's still $4.20, so it's not a $2 shot. He was beaten over 2,000 by Via Sistina, but he had the fastest last 400 and 200 metres in his last 2 starts over 2,000, which suggests he's wanting more and loves a little bit of give in the ground. There's a bit of rain forecast for Melbourne on Friday, so he's probably going to be my tip. And then if I'm steering around him, and we love to find a few value, I really like Zardozi at $7 with no weight on the back, only 51 kilos. Godolphin, really big stable, they don't mess around. And then Duke de Sessa for Kieran Ma, $26 a few days ago, is now to 13s.
Oh, hello, that's saying something, isn't it?
It's a big market move, mate. So I don't know. It's had some good runs out front, and if, I guess, again, look at the track, if Caulfield performs anything like it did last week, it will suit leaders on pace. So I like Duke de Sessa in that sense, whereas Buckaroo's more of a sweeper.
Yes, gotcha. I like that. That's very good from you. Mate, I can't argue with that. I think Buckaroo's going to get it done. It's just looking good. Things are going well for Buckaroo at the moment, and I fully 100% agree with you. I'm going to be a bit speculative, though, and go with our boy Huddy in Calipore. So just got a little bit each way on Calipore as well. At $16.50 a place. That ain't bad, is it?
Oh, mate, he talked us about the reasoning why he thinks it's a good bet.
Yeah.
And you got to forgive those last 2 starts based on what he's saying. And that's the trap with punting, is you can read into the Prix 2 lead-up races over distances which they're never set to win. And they're just warm-up runs, mate.
Well, that's the sort of info that actually wins you big bucks.
That's why we're punt pals, mate. Trying to tip out the mail. And it's interesting, if you don't follow racing, you'd probably think the best horse in the race generally wins.
Yep.
Look at the distance.
Boom.
Performance over that distance. And I think you found $16.50 for the place for Calipore. So
Yeah. It's probably going in a bit now, though, to be honest, because that's when it was paying 101 for the win.
that's when you had 5,000 on the place. Now it turns.
Exactly.
You've got to have a trifecta then, don't you? Surely.
Oh, give it a crack.
I mean, if you got trifecta with 50 for the place and you didn't throw it in a box try,
You'd be
that might make 4,000. It's an 18-horse field, so the trifecta pool will be massive.
absolutely huge. And, mate, based on that info that we've got, yes, I agree. We should definitely be doing that. Mate, fun little fact for you as well is that I've got a Caulfield Cup winner in the family. I haven't told you about this.
Keeping this on the download.
Yes. Well, I thought I'd wait until this weekend and maybe the start of November to give you a little bit more information. But my great-grandfather and his father, so my great-grandfather and my great-great-grandfather were a jockey and a trainer respectively, a father-son team.
Wow.
And we had some serious farmland in what's now Moonee Valley and Moonee Ponds and all that. Lost it in the Depression. That's all gone. Went on pitch, don't worry.
Oh, mate, far out.
Yeah, if I had kept that, I wouldn't be here with you.
Yeah, CEO of Moonee Valley Racing Clubs.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so they sold that off and everything, but they had some success, and one of them was a Caulfield Cup winner named Boz. So that was in, it was a long time ago. I think it was like 1897. Yeah, it's going back. But
It's a 120-year-old race.
yeah, exactly.
It's crazy, isn't it? Wow, man. What was the prize money then, you reckon?
I
20
don't
pound?
I don't know what the prize money was, but it could have been £20. But one thing I have, and this is kind of something through the family that's been passed down to me, is I've got the winner's pin. So basically what they did was they made a brooch with the word Boz, B-O-Z, because that was the winner, and it's diamond encrusted.
That is sick.
It's like cool. I don't know if it's worth a lot. I assume it is because it's quite cool memorabilia.
I mean, yeah. Oh, it's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah. So
Real.
yeah, so it's really cool. Like we really love having that family history, and it's amazing to actually have the little Boz brooch as well.
So, I mean, you were hosted by all accounts in some sort of lavish corporate affair at Singapore.
Yeah.
If you turned up at Caulfield at the gate and said, look, I'm the great relative of
Yeah. The Cripps family.
winner, any danger of a trip up to the Black Caviar Lounge?
Ooh.
Might and get the old pin out, mate.
Yeah.
That they're down there. I'm sure you'd get in anywhere with that.
You reckon? You used to work there, so you'll be able to tell me the ins and outs.
I didn't have too much trouble getting into places around there, but I'm sure with the pin, mate, they'd be happy to take you on.
Oh, okay, I'll keep that in mind maybe for next year. Jeez. Anyway, man, let's move on to Ascot quickly because it's Eurythmics Stakes Day, and I just thought I'd give you a quick little bit of history. So, Eurythmics Stakes, it's a Group 3, as we know, it's happening this Saturday. Now, it's a $200,000 race, so it's not massive prize money, but it actually used to be called the Northerly, but 2022, they renamed it the Eurythmics Stakes, and they actually transplanted that Northerly name into the Group 1 race. It used to be the Kingston Town Classic, and that's what we know as the Northerly today.
There we go.
Yeah, so there you go.
So it's hard to track the winners from the previous races, given the names have changed, obviously. Right?
Well, it probably does stuff a few people up for sure.
Yeah. Good bloody W8 horse.
Do you reckon it's the best of all time?
It's got to be close.
Yeah, be up there.
Yeah.
Be up there.
It's got to be definitely one of the better horses that we've ever produced from over here.
Yeah, and I think it was probably pretty fitting that they changed its name to a Group 1 race.
I think
just quite.
And the Pinnacles too, which is the Spring Carnival.
Yeah.
No, he's running it, when the racing's not actually hot. So
bit rough on Kingston Town, though. There is no Kingston Town race now.
Can you?
That's true. But if you've already got it, you don't want to lose it.
Yeah. It's like, Winks won, 26 in a row?
Yeah, true.
But she's got to take someone's spot as a race name, doesn't she?
Yeah.
So, you got to get, I guess we got to go to the ages and the times, man.
What sort of money would it cost us to get a Punt Pals podcast stakes or something?
We'll have to ring my mate Tony down there at Perth Racing and have a yarn to him.
Love that.
Look, depends if you want to go midweek or Saturday grade, mate, or,
Saturday
grade.
Yeah.
A few K, I'd say.
Mate, we can stump that up. We just need a sponsorship.
Bring the boys down and put some money over the bar, and they should pay for it quite easily with our format, I would have thought.
Love that. Mate, have you had a look at this race at all? I like Magnificent Andy.
I haven't. Magnificent Andy again, leader, loves to go to the front.
Yeah.
Paying $13.
He's paying 11, which isn't bad. Yeah, and he's apparently he likes Belmont. He doesn't like Belmont, loves Ascot, I should say, and he's drawn well in Barrier 3. So I like Magnificent Andy.
Yeah, it's a good price. I haven't really dived too much into my Ascot form. Been too preoccupied with these big group races. There's a couple of horses like Magnificent Andy, though, that I really want to follow in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Because there's bigger races up in late November and early December, isn't there?
But there is some big races coming up.
Bustler's returning this weekend as well, I think.
Yes, Bustler is returning. I haven't really looked at the form on Bustler as far as what it's done in the last few weeks. Has it run at all?
It's aimed at the Railway Stakes this year.
Yep.
So futures markets available for Bustler at the moment. Tab touched did a few videos with some of the trainers about their horses and where they're being targeted.
Beautiful.
It's Play series, so get on there and have a look at some of those. There's some good mail there for the punters too.
Oh, beautiful. Mate, that's Ascot. We're not concentrating as much on Ascot this week just because it's so big over east.
Sporting Legends Day at Ascot, by the way, this weekend.
Sporting Legends Day.
I was down at Perth Racing before, and they mentioned they've got 3 or 4 Olympians, WA-based Olympians, featuring on course on the weekend, and a bunch of former stars from the Wildcats and other sports here in WA, so get down there.
Beautiful. You're a drinking legend. Are they getting you involved?
Nah, mate. There's only sporting legends this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm more on the Irish Day the following week's where I excel.
Hey.
Irish that love a beer, so yeah, mate.
Guinness pints to burn. I love that. All right, mate. Well, that's racing for this week. We doing Risto's Road?
Why not, mate?
All right.
That's bullshit.
Risto's Roast.
Shouldn't really dance to that intro, should I?
You should definitely do it. Do it.
Look, mate.
Don't let anyone tell you can't.
Exactly. Look, on a bit of a down note, it has been great to see the racing, hasn't it?
It's been great. I've loved it
I really miss some footy, man.
already.
Yeah, the withdrawals really, because we were so heavily into it a few weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
It falls away, and there's still a bit of AFLW action, which I quite enjoy. The Western Derby on this weekend between West Coast and Fremantle there in the AFLW. But mate, trade week or trade fortnight, they call it now. It's just been so bloody boring.
It's too long and nothing happens.
That's what I mean. Why tune in and hear about possible trades for 5 straight days, and that's making front and back page news all day, every day? Like, just tell us when it happens and tell us what it means. It's all bloody jargon, mate. You got future picks in 2028, but right, there was no bloody actual trades for the first week for a start. So we're like, stop wasting my time trying to trawl through content for the podcast.
Yeah.
For one.
Yeah.
And then it's farcical that absolutely nothing happens until pretty much the last half day of the last day of trade.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 weeks seems way too long for me, man. You can make it action-packed in 1 week, and I think that versus a long and laborious build-up to the second week and the last day of the trade where everything seems to happen, it's impossible to stay ahead of it. So a couple of trades that have really caught my eye, mate.
Yep.
Interesting. West Coast gave up pick 3 in the trade for Liam Baker.
Yeah.
West Coast need to add some sort of depth within that sort of mid-20s age category. But I think pick 3 in this draft, which is touted to be probably the best draft in 20 years, was probably overs for me, man. Where you list at anyway.
Yep, 100%. Sorry to interrupt the race. The thing they stuffed it up, though, is they didn't get onto the Hawthorn-Barras trade early enough. So that 14 ended up being involved in the Baker thing, whereas they could have just got the pick 14, given it over for Baker, and still had pick 3. They stuffed it up
Yeah,
royally.
big time.
They actually they lost a first-round pick.
And a lot of clubs, to your exact point, a lot of clubs have played hardball for the entire trade period and they ended up where they started.
Yeah.
So a really good example, but Richmond and Dan Rioli.
Yeah.
So like pick 6 from Gold Coast is enough to get Dan Rioli over to trade, surely, to find Dimmer at bloody Gold Coast.
I would have thought so.
Instead, Richmond sat there until bloody the last day of the trade period or second last day. But he's not bloody Harley Reid.
Yeah.
He did actually win their best and fairest, to be fair to Dan Rioli, but I don't think he's an All-Australian walk.
But I mean, Richmond, they didn't have that would be an overstatement. They didn't have the best season last year.
And they've now got 8 first-round picks, which is the most since the Inception clubs came in Gold Coast and GWS.
Yeah.
8 first rounds, which is a phenomenal effort. But you're always going to take 6 for Rioli. Let's just get it done.
Yep, agree.
Trade period roll on. On to my boys in Freo. They really did have the Shea Bolton blinkers on, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They wanted him bad.
So great that we got him. He's a powerful player to hit the scoreboard throughout the year.
Yeah,
I think he's going to get you 40 goals straight up walk-up start, which is ambitious, I guess. I'm a Freo supporter at the end of the day. And they traded picks 11 and 18, exchanged for pick 14 and a future third rounder. So I felt we got a bit stiff there.
Oh, I thought it was a good trade. You might have paid slightly overs, but you did get that pick 14 back. And the thing about it is, you don't know what you're getting with 10 and 11. It could be anything, whereas you've got a proven performer. Add that to the mix. Like, Freo are looking dangerous. If they don't make the top 4 this year, it's an absolute failure. So I don't mind that you paid a little bit overs for it.
Well, the 14 back made it favourable for me.
Yeah.
But when they were asking for 10, 11 and 18 to start off with, that's when I thought, shit, we've actually set ourselves up for a great draft hand here.
Well, we're
about to trade away our first 3 rounders.
Exactly, true. But you've got a young team anyway. But the thing that really sort of blew my mind on that a bit was the fact that originally the offer was 10, 11 and 18 for Bolton and Baker. And you only got Bolton.
Yeah, exactly. How quick did that change?
Yeah. But you got pick 14 back, which funnily enough was the Baker pick, which went to Carlton, then it went to West Coast, then it finally went to Richmond.
I can keep up with where it went. Sock my wallet up, big night of the town.
Yeah.
Who knows where it ends up, mate. But look, a couple of things also just to finish off. Luke Parker, I thought, pretty shit story really for him, mate. 7 games off 300 games. And geez, did they haggle with North the entire time, Sydney. They played hardball right into the death knock. And I just think a guy like that is giving your club so much service. Just do the right thing and help him find a club and get it sorted.
Yeah.
Don't drag your player to the last day of the trade period to try and get it done when he's only got a couple of years left on his career.
Yeah.
You didn't rate him this season. Move him on, get a fair price for him, and let him move on with his life.
Yep, agreed.
Which is terrible. So, mate, overall, a couple of bizarre trades, a couple of really good ones for some of the WA teams. West Coast maybe paid overs, Freo potentially, but maybe not, given what Shea Bolton may bring to the team. But just shorten it up, mate. make it less boring. Stop dragging it right out. We love the footy, but trade periods become a little bit boring.
Yep, I tend to agree with you. Well, all the trades happened in the last half an hour. 9 of them in half an hour. Hey, mate, before we get into our bets, I just wanted to jump into the Austin Grand Prix this weekend. The US Grand Prix, mate.
It's a big one, isn't it?
It is, and it's very interesting because you come off the 3 weeks break after Singapore, and I feel like there's a lot of unknowns in this actual race. So I've got a few things for you to look out for there, Nico. So majority of teams expecting to bring upgrades to their car. Now, McLaren, as we know, have been dominating probably the last 6, 7 races. Even Red Bull can't catch them anymore. So it's a little bit of an unknown what they're going to bring. Are they going to have upgrades? Are Red Bull going to have upgrades? Depending on what happens there, is probably going to almost decide the championship at this point because the Drivers' Championship, Verstappen still could win because of his form at the start of the season, but...
So they don't need to declare, mate, like it's not like a horse where you need to declare, we're putting the beer tire on or the blinkers today.
They do.
Do they tell you what the upgrades are? Or?
They do, but honestly, man, I don't understand half. It's a big long list. So I just see the proofs in the pudding.
They stayed just off their times.
Pretty much. Oh, shit, if you save a second off your time, you bloody flying.
This is going to make a material difference, you think, to pegging back McLaren, hopefully. Is that what we're saying?
Well, it could. That's the unknown. It could make a material difference, yes. So it's going to be very interesting to see what comes out of that. Liam Lawson in the V-Carb after the departure of our boy Daniel Ricciardo. Going to be interesting to see his performance. Like, is he just going to be the same guy?
Well, if he is, he finishes in a similar spot.
Yeah.
Can't on the driver, isn't it?
Exactly right. So that's what we're going to have a little bit of an indication of. Be interesting to see. Yeah, man, so I can't go past the McLarens. I think their form's good. $2 for Norris to win is too short. And this sounds like a little bit of a contradiction, but Norris and Piastri to both make the podium at $1.92 I like, just because the McLarens are so much better than everyone else.
Yeah, it's a fair shout. Around $2 is not a bad price either.
Yeah, but you can't guarantee either of them to win.
No.
Yeah.
So you reckon they'll round out two of the 3 first places in the podium there?
I think they will, as long as no one crashes. That's probably the key. Mate, you going to watch it?
I will be.
Yeah, we've got him on. We've got him on.
Especially that intrigue around the replacement driver there in Liam Lawson.
Yeah,
adds a bit of spice to it. So, looking forward to it. And I think there's a couple of big stars performing there in the day as well, man.
Oh, Eminem and Sting. How's that?
You had me.
Recording on a Thursday, by the way. Eminem turned 52 today.
Geez, he goes all right, 52, doesn't he?
Yeah, he goes very well.
He can still rap at 52 with that.
He's at the top of his game, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, he's still rapping nicely. Don't you worry about that.
My dad rapping at 52.
That is. Yeah, my dad would be very similar. Very similar indeed. Now, mate, do you want to rip through Heroes of the Week very quickly?
I think we should, mate. There's a couple of standout performances there, and then we can rip into the bets, buddy.
Beautiful.
Be a hero, mate. Robbie's Heroes of the Week.
Don't be a hero, mate.
I love that. Do be a hero, mate.
Did you see the little social video I put up yesterday? Your face.
I haven't seen it yet. No.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet? Oh, man, go and watch it on Pump Pals Pod at Instagram. You will get a good laugh. Mate, just 2 very quickly. Now, I wanted to throw Rafael Nadal in there. Not for anything he's done recently, but there was a bit of info that came out during the week that his racket manufacturer / sponsor, which is Babolat, started sponsoring him when he was 9. So they identified he was going to be good early. And since that time, he's still using him. He's used about 1,250 rackets, 16,500 meters of grip, 300 kilometers of strings, and 125 tennis bags. So Nadal goes through the gear, and he's never, ever smashed a racket.
I love Nadal.
Pretty good effort, eh?
He's a man.
Yeah.
He was just an elite. Still was, really. Just right to the end, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Gave up to knee injuries, I think, in the end.
Yeah. So let's just give the man a clap.
Well done.
For his gear use. I like it.
I saw a horse called Nadal going around at the moment in Melbourne too.
Is there actually?
Won convincingly at Caulfield on Wednesday.
Namesake?
Yep, Nadal.
Yep, makes sense.
So anyway, there's a bit of fun fact for you, mate.
I love that.
Sorry to jump in.
I want to see a Michael Chang.
Because a field full of names after stars. I'd on Federer himself, but yeah.
Federer, yeah. No, I'd be on Sampras. Get around him. What a gun he was.
Going back to vintage.
Mate, just one other hero of the week, and I thought this was really cool. And we're looking at some soccer now. Italian soccer player Daniel Maldini made his first appearance for his country in the side's 4-1 victory over Israel in the Nations League. Now, the 23-year-old's debut for Italy made him, along with his father Paolo and his grandfather Cesar, the first 3-generation trio to have all played for Italy. And I thought that's pretty cool. Yeah. That's great.
Good genes there.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Great names as well.
Yeah, I know.
Paolo and
Paolo, Cesar. How do you get Daniel?
Cesar. Yeah. Cesar. You want to keep it? Cesar Jr.
No. Give me Cesar, you dog.
Ridiculously good record, though, isn't it?
It's pretty good.
A lot of pressure for the next generation.
Yeah, I know. What about at Freo? Have you got a father-son?
No, I don't think we have. We haven't been in the league that long enough, have we?
I don't think so.
The only reason why, right? No.
We had Jimmy Hurd and we were going for 4th at Essendon, but his son didn't make the cut.
Yeah.
Sadly. Nah.
There's no...
Be a hero, mate. Robbie's Heroes of the Week.
Just because I know you love it.
Yeah, every time.
Mate, we better move on to our bets for the week, eh?
I think it's time, mate. It's time to get into the beds. And I think this is the weekend where we should get it correct.
You reckon?
Yeah, I'm feeling really good about it.
Ooh, hello, I like this.
I went first with the losing bets from the previous week, so you're up first with your bets, pal.
Okay, mate. All right, so let's get into it. Mate, I'm keeping it short and sharp this week. So I spruiked sunshine in Paris before.
Yep.
I think it's going to win the Everest. It's just going to get it done. So I'm going to go 25 each way. Boom, straight up.
$11.
Love it. It's $11.
$2.50 for the places. So, yeah, about 300 there, mate.
Huge. Love it.
Be lovely, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Amelia's Jewel to place, $3.60, $25 on that. And I'm also going to take the F1 bet I talked about, Norris and Piastri on the podium at $1.92, 25 on. That's my $100. Done deal. No mucking around. I'm going to win every single one of them.
Easy to follow. Super confident, ain't you, really?
Boom.
Look at the pep in the step as he goes through that trifecta of bets.
No, I'm going to lose in the end.
This time, can't we? Mate, for me, I'm going to wrap the 3 bets for the weekend in those major Group 1s together. So, Fangirl to place, Bella Nipotina to place, Buckaroo to place, getting $7, which is ridiculous.
Boom. Thank you.
For 346 collect. I'm going to take $30 on Loco's multi in the NFL, which I'll take you through in a minute. And then $20 on the Tab Touch Hot Shots exclusive, which is in the English Premier League, which is Salah or Palmer to score at $2.50.
Love it.
$20 max bet. Palmer had 4 goals in half of EPL a few weeks ago.
Yes, he did. I love that.
Yeah. Just one would be nice.
Yeah.
Please, mate.
So it's just one of them to score.
Score, mate. Yeah, just either of them.
That's good odds.
Yeah, it is. But, they're the ones who put together, mate. Just a little bit of a bank.
Beautiful. That's beautiful, mate.
So, Lockie Collins.
Yes.
Coming off a win.
Oh.
Remember last time. So, the boys around him, for the shout out to the boys over in Melbourne, Pete Depsonger, Brandon is a good mate of mine, Alex Hughes, and then Lockie Collins are the boys over in Melbourne. They love a bit of chat on WhatsApp about this.
Well done, fellas. I thought you're in an NFL chat.
Well, essentially. I'm the only non-NFL guy. I'm trying in my racing, but there's also a guy called Pete over there. I'll give him a quick shout. He puts together these amazing spreadsheets.
Yeah.
Full of all the best ratings for the horses over the weekend. He does both tracks, both metro tracks. And
really?
So shout out to you, Pete. You've been doing some great work, mate.
Good on you, Petey. How the hell's he got time for that?
Good question. We might have some sort of algorithm or bot working in the background at this point, but no, he pumps them out, mate.
I love that.
So anyway, Lockie's bet. Baltimore versus Tampa Bay, over 48.5 match points. So he expects it to be a bit of a scoring fest. Buffalo Bills to win against Tennessee Titans, and Detroit Lions versus Minnesota Vikings, either team to win by 7 or less at $4.25. 3-legger. His commentary. Baltimore and Tampa are scoring machines this year so far. Both of them.
Love it.
Yeah. That's why he's going 48.5 and over. Titans are struggling. Bills should get the job done. Titans are no good. Lions versus Vikings, going to be an epic battle. He reckons this might be one of the matches of the round. Both teams need to win to play playoffs, so expect a great showing on offense and defense. Should be tight, but almost impossible to find a head-to-head winner.
Hello, there you go. and the commentary around it.
$4.25 on.
It's brilliant stuff. I love this.
Me too, mate. He's good. I love big effort.
It's so good, isn't it, mate?
Time for Tones to come good, though, isn't it?
Tone's hot tip. Here we go. This is our final bet for the weekend. Tone's hot tip. He's been missing out by one leg pretty much every week. So he's gone a little bit bigger. So he's gone bigger. Tones, we love you. So he's taken Tottenham versus West Ham over 2.5 goals. Fulham versus Aston Villa over 2.5 goals. And to round out his EPL legs, Ipswich and Everton over 2.5 goals. Then he's gone to the Italian League. Juventus head-to-head and Napoli head-to-head, coming in at 13.85 for the multi. I don't know how much he's got on it. Maybe this is his week.
If you get one up, can you please send us a little live video recording of you celebrating, just saluting a $13.85 multi?
Do you know what?
He's due.
If he gets this 13.85 multi, as a dog supporter, he would be almost as happy to get rid of Bailey Smith. He didn't want him. I can't believe. Yeah, like I would love Bailey Smith at the Bombers, but for some reason he's filthy on him. I think he's just angry he's left.
Yeah, he's a bit jaded, is he?
Yeah, he's jaded.
Well, mate, I hope Tones can get one up because we've all got to hit one eventually.
We've all got to hit one eventually, and I'm sick of putting money on his multis and losing.
As you know, the punters come knocking, don't they, to try and get their tips in, Tones? So let's get one up, mate. Come on.
And on that note, mate, we are done and dusted. Another good week. Good stuff, Nico. We'll catch you next week.
Thanks, mate. Always good to be here with you, and good luck on the punt, everyone. Gamble responsibly.
Please leave it.